Something I wish that people would have taught us when we were in elementary school is how to notice and spot good friends. We were not taught this, and so many of us are out here as adults with friends that aren't great friends, that aren't real, that aren't loyal, and we don't recognize it. So number one, I tell my 3rd and 5th grader, if they're not nice all the time, meaning if they're nice some days and mean other days, like play with you one day, don't play with you another day, or are really super sweet and then really mean, they're not nice people. Because my kids will say to me, well, they're not always mean to me. Like sometimes they're really nice to me. Well, guess what? That's a friend that's actually not nice. Because if they're not consistently nice to you, then they're not a nice friend. That means that we can say hi to them, we can play with them at PE, but they're not going to be a friend that we trust and that we rely on, that are in our inner circle, okay? And it doesn't mean that they can't make a mistake and sometimes be rude or hurt our feelings. And when we advocate for ourselves, they apologize and then they change. That's a different thing completely than somebody who's wishy-washy, hot and cold, nice one day, mean the next. And adults deal with this too. So this happens all the time. Somebody that is 1 minute kind and wants to hang out with you and the next minute like ditching you and ghosting you and talking about you behind your back, they're not a real friend, okay? The next thing that I tell my 3rd and 5th grader is if a friend has to chip you down and compete with you about everything, kids are a lot less able to hide it than adults. Adults can hide envy, but it starts to creep out in like little things that they say to you, or like instances where they're not happy for you, or instances where they try to chip away at your self-esteem or chip away at your accomplishments. The way it looks with kids is like they'll just overtly be competitive and they'll want to compare, and they'll want to like, you know, tell you that you're copying them, or, you know, whatever the case may be, it has an air of competition. Okay, that's somebody that's not truly going to be happy for you, because jealousy is one of those emotions that will completely rot away at your sense of like emotional intimacy. You can't trust somebody that's jealous of you. You can't trust somebody that's constantly competing with you. So again, these are not going to be friends that you're going to spend a lot of time with. Like, they're friends that you can say hello to. They're friends that you can like have a minute here or there where you have fun with them, but they're not going to be in your inner circle. I've also been teaching my kids like what gaslighting is and what blame shifting is, because kids will learn this from a young age from their parents. They'll be gaslit by their parents. Their parents will be narcissistic and they will model and demonstrate these behaviors to their children, and then the children repeat it. So an example of this was my 5th grader got in the car from going into the bookstore and hadn't taken her phone in. And while she was in the bookstore, her friend had incessantly texted her, and then when she didn't immediately text back, was shaming my daughter and telling her that she was being unchristlike, that she was being rude. And my daughter had to tell her, like, look, I don't know why you're coming at me. I just left my phone in the car. And I had to explain to my daughter, like, okay, what is happening there is blame shifting. So she knows that she's in the wrong, but she's blaming you for it, and she's making it your fault. And she's telling you that if you apologize to her, you guys can move along and move on, when in reality, she was the one that needs to apologize. Another example of this is my 3rd grader was over at a friend's house, and the friend was really horrible to him and kicked him out of the house at like 10:30 at night, told him he couldn't sleep in his bed because he was dirty, and just did a lot of horrible things. So we ended up picking up my 3rd grader like really late at night from this sleepover. And the next morning, the kid was texting my son telling him, well, I think we were just tired, so let's just move on from what happened. We were both just tired. And I had to explain to my 3rd grader, this is gaslighting, like changing the version of what actually happened to something else that makes the perpetrator or the person that hurts you look like they didn't do anything wrong. That's rewriting history, and that's called gaslighting. So it's like teaching kids to recognize these toxic tendencies of manipulation, because that's what they are, and then recognizing them, calling them out, and not tolerating them. Lastly, I want to say that what I've recognized in helping my kids understand who good friends are is the good friends are very, very rare. Like, my kids have a whole slew of friends, like a whole handful of friends, right? Out of that whole handful of friends, one of them is going to be the ride or die, that is consistent, that is loyal, that keeps their name safe, that isn't competing with them. And I tell my kids, like, hold on to that friend and give all of your good energy and time to that friend, because that friend is the one that is going to be there for you. That friend is the one that has a pure heart. And I've had to teach my kids at a young age, like, unfortunately, you're going to be out here and not a lot of your friends are going to meet that mark. They will not rise to that standard. And it doesn't mean that you can't have a lot of different friends. You can have friends for different reasons, like friends you like to play with on the playground, or friends that are on your sports team, or whatever. But the real friends, the ones that you want to spend birthdays with, the ones that you can show your whole self to, and like be fully like transparent and authentic, and you can trust them with secrets and you can confide in them, that's going to be one or two, babe. And it's the exact same for adults. Do you want to be popular, or do you want to be safe, and do you want to be truly loved? That's the question you have to ask yourself your whole life.